Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, I got a little bored and I was field stripping the hell out of this 1911. And, hey, you know what? It kind of clicked in my head to do a nice little public service announcement. Now, what I'm about to talk about, I don't want this to happen to anybody, especially if you don't have a familiarity with weapons. Because, one, it could just lead to, more harm than help, or, more harm than good. And kind of what I'm going to cover is if you ever find a weapon. Now, obviously, this is just like the one I was field stripping, cleaning out just a little bit. This is just a 1911 A1, and does despite what you might think it looks like, it really is an actual functioning firearm. I know it looks, not like the more higher end ones out there on the internet, but this is the one I got. So, to make the long story short, we have no magazine in there because obviously I'm not at a range, and we're safety cleared. You don't see no gold, you're in the clear. So I'm just gonna start off real easy. You don't have to really know what these firearms are, but what you do need to know is once you find one on the floor, like when you're out on the path, call the local authorities. Don't try to secure it or don't try to hover over it. Don't even pick it up. Why? Because it could be evidence to a previous crime or a crime that just happened. You just don't know. There's so many variables out there. Now, one of the things that you might just want to just keep in note of, you notice how I just put the and I'm not even gonna like kind of stress it out with terminology. I'm not gonna say rear side, front side, slide, barrel, like barrel, none of that. What I'm just gonna say is like, look, like you notice how like this particular part, and I know exactly what it is, but for the untrained eye and like dudes and girls, this is for the people that just don't know, like, cause this is our world. We're trying to bring those people into our world, so this is our world. So this part is opened, or in this case, pulled back. Now, if you were to find a piece like a firearm like this, and you notice this, now, and if it's just laying flat like that on the ground, like just leave it alone. Just kind of assume that it's loaded and ready to be fired. If you have no experience with it, that little sound, you might think that actually is an actuator to actually fire the weapon. That's not the case. Now, if you found it by accident and it's like this, and you notice how this particular lever, it's down, well, then it is ready to fire. And if you found it like when it was up, that's a safety indicator. It is on safe, but considering like how like kind of the way this gun is colored, you probably won't be able to tell the difference between up and down. So all you have to do is just make sure that like if you notice this, it is ready to be fired. Whether you find it facing like this or facing the other way where you can't even see it. Don't do anything, leave it alone and call the proper authorities. Now, in a situation like if for whatever reason and you found it like this, it doesn't matter if it was just like this or like that. Again, do not pick it up. Don't pick anything up. Just stop what you're doing and just kind of like keep your step back. And I'm not and like this is like the worst case scenario that's gonna happen to this firearm or a firearm if you find it. That will probably freak out the people that are not in the know because something somehow it just went forward. We don't know. We have no idea why it was found like this, and that's because I pushed this piece all the way back, and I locked it with this little lever right here. I did that on purpose, and I know it's all the way back. But sometimes, hey, a lot of things. There's so many variables. This is just a public safety announcement, really. Now, if you found it in any particular way, just leave it alone. Don't try to do anything to it. Don't try to figure it out. Don't even try to YouTube any of this stuff. Just let it be and just leave it alone. For this for the sole purposes, just call the authorities. Now, I really don't wish this on anybody, and I really don't want any of this stuff to be like a nuisance on anybody, really, because, well, I don't want you to get the wrong idea that like there's guns everywhere. And I'm from Texas, and I know a lot of people have guns. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you lined up 8 people and I throw a football at them at random, I'm pretty sure the one I'll throw it to, and the one that's gonna catch it probably has a few guns, probably just a few guns on their person. That's just kind of how it is where I'm from. Now, that's not the case everywhere in the good old United States, but that's life in general. So that's my own little 2 cents. I feel like the video got a little bit long, and for the people that that are gonna come across this, look, I get it. I didn't go into full-on terminology. Look, I'm not trying to lose people in the discussion or in this particular video. So forgive me for not actually clarifying everything that is on this firearm, because really I don't want people to get lost in the wind. Now, I could have brought in other variants, but you just never know. There's been cases of these where they just be like, okay, cool, they just found a firearm and they didn't get into any kind of specifics, but this is just a public safety's announcement to the people that might have to encounter an incident like this. I haven't, because I don't go looking for it, but at the same time, anything could happen. Everything and anything will happen. That's Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. So in this particular case, that's my own 2 cents on it. And I hope it kind of got the point across. Just kind of, call the local authorities. Don't try to figure it out. Just leave it be. Keep your distance. And one part I forgot to mention was, make sure that this part of the gun is not aimed at you or pointed at you. If you can see this, that's bad. Move around from it and get behind it where you can see this part more than anything, or just this part, because we have no idea. We have no idea if the hammer is actually forward or pulled back. We have no idea. It's always a good idea to get away from the end of where the freedom seat comes from. So with all that being said, I think I made my point, and if you felt like I didn't, leave it down in the comments. I'll definitely read them. Thank you all for tuning in. Y'all stay free and y'all stay safe.